You don't have to believe in ghosts to feel haunted. Sometimes the heaviness in your home doesn't come from what's happening, but from what's just sitting there. Quiet, familiar, forgotten. A cracked mirror you've walked past 100 times, a pair of shoes by the door that no one wears anymore. A decorative doll that once belonged to someone who's no longer here. You've probably never thought twice about these things. But some objects don't just collect dust, they collect energy. In homes across America, especially those we've lived in for years, things tend to stay. Out of habit, out of memory, out of the fear that tossing something out might feel like tossing a part of ourselves. But what if, without realizing it, we're keeping more than old belongings? What if some of these items, not because they are cursed, but simply because of what they've held onto, are quietly disrupting the energy around us, making it harder to sleep, harder to breathe, harder to feel truly at peace in our own space? This isn't about superstition, it's about awareness. Energy, emotional, environmental, even spiritual, builds in layers. And certain objects, especially ones we rarely use or never fully understood, can anchor that energy in ways we don't see until something starts to feel off. That strange tension in the living room, the hallway that always feels colder, the restless dreams that come back night after night. Today, we're going to walk through 8 common household objects, things you might already have in your home, things that may be silently holding onto something you don't need anymore. Not to scare you, but to help you notice. Because sometimes, letting go of the wrong object is all it takes to let the right energy back in. Item 1, damp, fraying, or old towels. Let's start with something deceptively small. Not a mirror, not a haunted antique, not a shadowy figure in the hallway, a towel, just a towel. Most people wouldn't even blink at the thought of a towel being something that holds spiritual weight. After all, it's just fabric. You use it, hang it, wash it, fold it, and forget about it. But the towels in your home, the ones draped over your bathroom door, the ones tucked under the sink for cleanup emergencies, the old one you keep using because it still works, maybe doing more than drying your hands. They may be holding onto you, or at least the parts of you you've long since outgrown. Here's the truth most of us overlook. Towels don't just dry water, they absorb energy. Not in a mystical, magical way. In a deeply human way. Think about when you use a towel after a long, stressful day. After a hot shower meant to wash away the world. After tears, sweat, sickness, exhaustion. Your body reaches for that towel when it's most vulnerable. And what does it do? It presses back against your skin, soaks up what your body releases, cradles the tension, holds the heat. It becomes a witness to whatever moment just passed, and if that towel stays in rotation, unwashed, damp, or worn thin, it becomes something else too, a lingering echo. Now pause. Think about your favorite towel, the one you use every day without thinking. How often is it truly dry when you reach for it again? How often has it hung in a dark, humid bathroom, collecting not just moisture, but a quiet sort of heaviness? Energy, even if you don't believe in the word, builds in rooms, in routines, in objects. And a towel, of all things, is one of the most intimate objects in your home. You wrap yourself in it. Sometimes you cry into it. Sometimes you sit in silence, still wrapped, hoping that something, anything, will shift. But what if that towel is part of what's keeping you stuck? Old towels don't just wear thin, they wear tired. Their fibers break down, their color fades, they stop feeling fresh, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin to feel the same way when you use them. Have you noticed it? How you feel slower, heavier, more off, on days when your towel was still a little damp, when it smells faintly like mildew, but you use it anyway. That small, sour scent is a message, not just from the fabric, but from your environment. Something's not quite right. Something's sitting too long without being cleared. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to feel haunted, but it does start to feel stuck. For many people, especially women, especially caregivers, towels are one of the last things they think about. Because you're always thinking about everyone else. About dinner. About bills. About that doctor's appointment you keep rescheduling. You'll buy your kids new towels, your guests new towels, but you're still using the one from college, from your first apartment. The one with bleach marks or torn edges or a seam that's coming undone. Because it's just a towel, right? But here's the thing. When we tell ourselves something is just a towel, what we're really saying is, I don't matter enough yet. My peace doesn't need to be prioritized. My comfort can wait. My energy can stay tired. That mindset doesn't show up in grand gestures. It shows up in details. In the towel you reach for every morning that reminds you subtly, silently, of how long you've been carrying what no longer serves you. There is a kind of grief in old towels, a quiet domestic grief. The kind that doesn't cry out loud but instead lingers in the corners of a bathroom. The kind that says, I haven't made space for myself in a while. It sounds small, it feels invisible, but you can feel it in the way you sigh after drying off, in the way you avoid looking at yourself in the mirror right after, in the way your body just feels unfinished. Replacing a towel isn't about luxury, it's about permission. Permission to feel clean in more than just the physical sense. Permission to say, I deserve softness too. To hang something up that feels new not because you're chasing aesthetics, but because you're clearing a channel. You're telling the room something fresh is allowed to enter now. A new towel, clean and light in color, pale yellow, soft blue, pure white, isn't just pleasing to the eye, it reflects light. It feels gentle, it lifts. It doesn't carry last week's exhaustion or last month's heartbreak or the ache in your shoulders you keep ignoring. It carries only the moment. That's the energy we want in our homes. That's the energy your body responds to whether you speak its language or not. So here's the quiet invitation. Look at your towel today. Really look. How does it make you feel? Not just physically, but emotionally. What part of your past might it be holding on to? Is it time to say thank you and let it go? Because sometimes all it takes to clear the weight in a room to breathe just a little easier is to replace the towel that's been carrying what you've outgrown. You don't need sage or crystals or rituals. You just need awareness and the willingness to let a small act become a powerful shift. Maybe it's not just a towel. Maybe it's the first step back to feeling whole. Item 2, antiques or second-hand items without a known history. It starts as a beautiful find. A vintage mirror at a flea market. A carved wooden chair from a thrift store. A ceramic vase that looks like it came out of your grandmother's living room. These pieces feel warm, storied, rich with character, like they've lived. And maybe they have, but lived where, with who, through what? We don't always ask those questions, because let's be honest, we love things that feel like they have history. There's something romantic about holding a piece of the past in your hands. It's personal, nostalgic, sometimes it's even comforting. But what we rarely think about, especially when something is beautiful, rare, or affordable, is this: energy doesn't leave just because the person did. The chair that sat in someone's quiet grief. The mirror that reflected 100 arguments. The dresser that held more than clothes, maybe secrets, maybe loss. Objects, especially the ones closest to human use, absorb atmosphere. They are silent witnesses to what took place around them. And when they move from one home to another without a pause, without cleansing, without intention, they don't arrive empty. They carry echoes. That's not superstition. That's energy memory. And whether you believe in that or not, you've probably felt it. Ever walked into a room and felt uncomfortable for no clear reason? Or brought something new into your house, a piece of furniture, a painting, and suddenly the room just feels off. It's not about ghosts or curses. It's about vibration, frequency, tone. And every object plays one whether we hear it or not. Antiques and second-hand items without a known story are like emotional hitchhikers. Not all of them are harmful. Many carry nothing more than neutrality, but some come heavy, not obviously, not immediately, but slowly, through tension that lingers, through restlessness that won't name itself, through dreams that feel unfamiliar. These are the things we don't see until the house starts to feel too quiet in all the wrong ways. Picture this: you find a wooden side table at a yard sale. It's stunning, ornate, fits your space perfectly, but something in you hesitates. You can't explain it. There's a coldness to it, even in warm light. But it was a bargain, so you bring it home. A few days pass, nothing dramatic happens. But suddenly your dog won't go near that corner. Your sleep is lighter, more disrupted. The living room feels different, and you start to wonder, am I imagining this? Maybe, but maybe not. We're not taught to question the energy behind physical objects. We focus on price, condition, aesthetic, but the energetic condition, that's invisible, which makes it easier to ignore and harder to fix once it's invited in. Especially if the object once belonged to someone who struggled, who suffered, who never let go before they let go. There's a tenderness to this, too, because sometimes we inherit things from people we loved. A watch, a rocking chair, a painting from a family home, and we hold on to them because we want to keep the memory alive. But memory and energy are not the same. One is yours to carry, the other may not be. And the question becomes, does this item make me feel closer to them or just closer to their pain? That's the heart of it. The emotional fork in the road. Not everything old is bad. Not everything secondhand is wrong, but everything deserves to be considered, looked at, held in your hands with curiosity, because if you don't know what an object has been through, it might bring what it's been through into you. The solution isn't fear, it's care, it's intentionality, it's taking a moment to clear what you've chosen to bring into your sacred space. Let the object breathe, place it in sunlight, let fresh air pass through it. Wipe it down with intention, not just to clean it, but to reset it. Say quietly, even if you feel silly, whatever this has been through before, it doesn't have to carry it anymore. These aren't rituals, they are resets. Energy hygiene, if you will, the same way you'd wash thrifted clothes before wearing them. The same way you'd air out a room that hasn't been used in a while. Objects are extensions of presence, and presence, whether alive or no longer living, deserves boundaries. There's a moment in every home where you realize something isn't working and you can't explain why. The room looks beautiful, but it doesn't feel right. The house is clean, but you don't feel clear. In moments like that, pause, walk around your space slowly. Notice what your eyes avoid, what your breath skips over, what your body tenses near. Sometimes the answer is sitting quietly in the corner, made of wood or glass or stone, and waiting to be released. Letting go of an antique doesn't mean disrespecting the past. It means honoring the present. It means saying, I am choosing peace now. I am choosing clarity. I don't need a reminder of pain dressed up as art. I don't need to keep something just because it has weight. Some weights are beautiful, but they are still weights. So ask yourself, what in your home did you bring in without knowing the story? What feels out of place, no matter how well it fits the decor? What might still be whispering the grief, the silence, the unresolved endings of someone you've never met? Because when you clear that object gently, consciously, kindly, you're not just changing your home. You're changing the way energy is allowed to live with you. And more importantly, what you allow to live with your energy. Sometimes the most powerful protection you can offer your home is letting go of what you never truly invited in. Item 3, dolls, human figures, or statues with eyes. There's something unsettling about eyes that don't blink. You don't notice it at first. A porcelain doll on a shelf, a decorative figure on the mantle, a bust passed down from someone's great-grandmother. They don't move, they don't make a sound. But they are there, watching, or at least it feels that way. And when it comes to human-like figures, dolls, statues, mannequins, anything with eyes, that feeling isn't just in your head, it's in the room. We're wired to respond to faces. It's how we connect, how we feel safe, how we read emotion. But when a face doesn't change, when it's frozen in expression, when its eyes never blink, something inside us can't quite settle. That unease might not scream at you. It might whisper. A twinge of discomfort when you walk past, a subtle avoidance when you clean, a reluctance to sit too close. You brush it off, it's just a doll, but your body remembers every time it flinched. Here's the truth. Objects shaped like humans carry more than aesthetic. They carry presence. And when that presence is placed in a home, especially one where energy needs to feel safe, soft, and alive, those objects can subtly interfere. They don't have to be haunted. They just have to be human enough to confuse the energy of the room. Dolls, in particular, are complex, especially old ones. They were often named, held, cried on, loved deeply, or feared. And unlike a pillow or a plate, they were made to mimic life, made to feel like a person. That intention doesn't disappear. It stays in the eyes, in the hair, in the clothes. Over time, especially if the doll is damaged, cracked, or distorted, that mimicry starts to warp. You're no longer looking at something cute. You're looking at something that once resembled life and now doesn't quite know what it resembles anymore. In spiritual terms, that kind of confusion is powerful. It creates a pull point, an energetic frequency that says, I am something, I don't know what, but I'm open. And just like a candle draws a moth, that openness can draw wandering energy, not necessarily evil, not necessarily active, but unsettled, unclaimed, looking for a place to belong and finding it in an object shaped like a person sitting quietly in your guest room. That's why bedrooms are the worst place for dolls and figures with eyes. You may not notice at first, but slowly your sleep becomes lighter, your dreams more strange. You wake up with a feeling you can't explain, like you weren't alone all night, like something shared the room with you. And it doesn't have to be dramatic, it's just persistent. Even more interesting is what happens when people give their dolls names. A name is an invitation, a focus, a way of calling something into form. When a child names a doll, it becomes real, at least emotionally. It holds memory, emotion, even imaginary dialogue. That emotional energy stays. And in some cases, if the name was repeated often with intention or play, it creates a kind of imprint, a resonance that hangs around long after the child grows up and forgets the doll exists. Now imagine you've boxed that doll up for years, then brought it into your home, set it on a shelf, maybe as a nostalgic piece or quirky decor. And you wonder why that room never feels right, why guests feel uneasy there, why your pet avoids that side of the room. It's not possession, it's presence. That doll still holds a frequency, and maybe it's no longer matching yours. Statues and busts carry a similar weight. They seem elegant, cultural, artistic. But if they depict faces, especially eyes, especially in multiples, they command attention and sometimes resistance. In energy work, human figures create energetic doubles, meaning your subconscious, which tracks safety constantly, registers them as beings, even when your logical mind knows they're not. This creates an undercurrent of alertness. The body doesn't relax all the way, it keeps checking, scanning, watching back. It's not that these objects are inherently bad. Some are beautiful, cherished, connected to joy, but many are inherited, bought on impulse, or kept out of obligation. That's where the problem begins. When an object that carries a strong, energetic signature is placed in a space without intention, without care, it becomes background noise, and like any noise over time, it becomes overwhelming. The fix isn't dramatic. It doesn't involve throwing everything out or fearing every doll you see. It's about noticing, feeling, asking, does this still belong here? Does it bring peace? Does it bring warmth? Or does it bring tension, stillness, unease? If it's the latter, you don't have to destroy it, but you may need to move it, rehome it, thank it, let it go, or if you want to keep it, cleanse it, place it in soft light for a few days, set clear intention with it. You are welcome here only if you bring peace. Sounds strange? Maybe, but energy is shaped by voice, by choice, by boundaries. Some homes, especially old ones, carry layers of other people's objects, energies, even emotional residue. Human-like figures intensify that because they represent identity, and identity draws attention. The question is, do you want that attention, and from what? Here's the soft truth at the center of all this. Your home is a mirror of your inner world. And just like we eventually outgrow old versions of ourselves, we also outgrow the objects that once reflected them. That doll from childhood, that statue from someone else's living room, that figure on the shelf that always gave you a weird feeling but you kept because it meant something. Maybe it did, but what does it mean now? You deserve to feel safe in your own space, not watched, not unsettled, not vaguely tense, safe, soft, held. That begins with choosing what and who gets to stay in the room with you, even when they have eyes that never blink. Because in the quiet of night, when everything else fades, your body still feels what your mind tries to dismiss. And sometimes it's not the shadow that keeps you up. It's the smile frozen in porcelain and the eyes that never look away. Item 4, dried or artificial flowers. There's something oddly beautiful about dried flowers. Fragile, preserved, still. They sit in vases on windowsills, in guest rooms, on mantels, delicate reminders of a moment that once bloomed. A celebration, a gift, a goodbye. They don't require water, they never wilt, they just stay, and that's the problem. In a home, every object speaks not in words but in energy, in movement, in invitation. And when something no longer holds life but still occupies space, its presence can shift the atmosphere in ways we don't always recognize at first. Dried flowers, for all their soft beauty, carry the memory of something that once lived and then stopped. They are symbols of stillness, of pause, of beauty that has frozen in place, unmoving, unchanging, and slowly becoming energy that no longer flows. At first, it seems harmless, maybe even meaningful. A bouquet from your daughter's wedding, the corsage from prom, a gift from someone who's now gone. You keep it because it represents something you don't want to lose. But what you're really keeping is the ending, not the celebration, not the love, not the person, just the echo. And over time, that echo gets heavier. The petals begin to curl inward, almost like they're sighing. Dust settles, colors fade. The bouquet that once brightened the room now makes it feel quieter. Not peaceful quiet, stagnant quiet. You may not notice it right away, but eventually you'll catch yourself avoiding that corner, wondering why that room always feels a little colder, why it doesn't quite feel alive even though nothing's wrong. Artificial flowers carry a similar weight, though they wear it differently. At a glance, they seem full of life, bright, colorful, untouched by time. But that's the trouble, they are untouched by time, unchanging, unresponsive. And in a space meant to breathe, to shift with the seasons, with your mood, with your energy, they become stuck points. They confuse the room's rhythm, because they look alive but offer nothing to the space around them. No oxygen, no scent, no motion, just silence in disguise. We bring them in with good intentions, to decorate, to save money, to avoid mess. But what we often create is a shelf of beautiful dead things, things that don't evolve, that don't ask for care, that don't connect with the natural world anymore. And slowly, that disconnection reflects back onto us. Because here's the quiet truth: energy wants to move, it wants to breathe. And when a space is filled with items that don't, dried stems, plastic petals, dust-covered arrangements, your energy starts to mirror that. You feel sluggish, indifferent, drained but without cause. You light candles and buy new pillows, but something still feels off, because the room isn't dry, it's lifeless. There's nothing inherently bad about keeping a dried rose. What matters is the why. Are you holding onto a sweet memory, or are you afraid to let go of what it represented? Are you honoring someone, or clinging to the version of yourself that once received it? It becomes even more complex when the flowers belong to someone who's passed away. A funeral wreath, a dried bouquet from a parent's memorial. In grief, we hold on to what we can, but over time, that object can shift, from comfort to tether, from tribute to blockage. You don't realize it's weighing on you until you remove it and feel something lift that you hadn't known was pressing down. That's the emotional center of it all. These objects don't shout, they whisper, they blend in. They become part of the background, but they hold stories, they hold endings. And when we surround ourselves with things that once lived but no longer do, we unintentionally anchor ourselves to those past chapters, making it harder to write the next ones. And yet, letting go isn't always easy, because sometimes the dried bouquet feels like the only thing we still have from someone we lost, or the only reminder of a time when we felt truly seen. But here's the thing: the energy you shared with that moment or that person isn't inside the petals, it's inside you. It doesn't live in the dried arrangement. It lives in your memory, in your breath, in how you carry that love forward. So instead of clinging to what has faded, what if you made space for what still blooms? A simple houseplant, a fresh bunch of grocery store flowers that you change every week, a single daisy on the windowsill, not to erase the past, but to remind your home and your heart that life continues, that energy flows, that beauty isn't just something we preserve, it's something we invite again and again. If you truly want to keep dried flowers, do it with intention. Keep them clean. Place them in sunlight now and then. Let them be a choice, not a default. Let them breathe, not gather dust in a forgotten corner. Honor them, but don't let them speak louder than the living energy your home needs to feel whole. Your home reflects you. Your spaces mirror your emotional state. And if too many things in your home have stopped moving, too many symbols of what was without room for what is, then maybe it's time to check what's been standing still too long. Maybe it's time to notice what no longer breathes and ask, do I still need this to stay? Because letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to live where life still grows, where air moves, where energy rises, falls, and rises again, just like flowers are meant to, just like you are. Item 5, cracked mirrors or broken glass. There's a strange thing that happens when you look into a cracked mirror. You still see yourself, but not quite. Your reflection splits. Angles distort, lines bend, and even though your brain tries to correct it, something in your body tightens, just slightly. It knows this image isn't whole, and when it comes to the energy of your home, that's the problem. Mirrors are more than decoration. They are interaction. They bounce light, expand space, reflect back what's in front of them visually, yes, but energetically too. In a room, a mirror is like a second set of eyes, a second door. It invites energy to move, to flow, to amplify, but only when it's intact. When a mirror is cracked or broken, it stops reflecting and starts fracturing. It scatters the energy it once balanced, and what was once a conduit becomes a confusion. You may not feel it directly, but you'll sense it. A restlessness in the room, a conversation that turns more tense than usual, a part of the house that always feels off, no matter how much you clean or rearrange. We often assume it's the furniture or the lighting or stress, but sometimes it's simpler. Sometimes it's that fractured glass still hanging in the hallway, catching just enough light to break it. In traditional energy practices, a cracked mirror is more than unlucky, it's unstable. It becomes what some call an energetic leak, meaning it no longer contains energy but lets it slip through. And depending on where it's placed, across from your bed, near the front door, facing a dining table, that leak can affect the way rest, nourishment, and welcome energy move through your home. You may not see it happening, but your body and mood will reflect the disruption. There's also a subtle psychological layer to broken mirrors. A mirror, by nature, is meant to offer clarity, to let us see ourselves fully. But when it's cracked, it distorts not just our image, but our perception. Over time, looking into a broken mirror can alter how you see yourself, even if you don't consciously notice. It introduces micro-discomfort, a kind of subliminal unease. You feel it in your skin, in your confidence, in how you start the day. Imagine brushing your teeth each morning while your reflection splinters across lines you've learned to ignore. It matters, not because of superstition, but because of repetition. And what about broken glass? Maybe it's a photo frame with a spiderweb crack, a decorative panel with a chipped corner, a table with a missing edge. These things happen, accidents, wear and tear life. We tell ourselves we'll replace it later, tape it up for now, live with it. But broken glass has its own silent language. It speaks of fracture, of pause, of something unresolved. And when we let it stay not as a choice, but as a delay, that message starts to settle into the space. Think about it. You walk past that frame every day, see the crack, feel the annoyance, tell yourself you'll get to it. And slowly that small irritation becomes background noise. You stop noticing it consciously, but it still echoes. Because every object in your home, especially the ones you interact with often, communicates something. And broken ones tend to say, not yet, not fixed, not whole. Of course, we don't always have the time or resources to replace everything immediately, but there's a difference between living with imperfection and ignoring energetic feedback. One is acceptance, the other is avoidance, and cracked mirrors, more than most objects, reveal where we've stopped seeing clearly, not just in glass, but in life. What's powerful is how quickly the energy shifts once the broken mirror is gone. Rooms feel brighter, softer, lighter. It's not magic, it's resonance, because clarity invites clarity. Wholeness invites ease. And when we remove the fracture point, physically and energetically, the space begins to breathe again. So if you have a cracked mirror in your home, pause, don't panic, don't jump to fear or superstition. Just ask yourself, what has this been showing me? What part of my life has felt scattered, confused, or out of sync? And what might shift if I took the small but powerful step of removing it? If the mirror has sentimental value, consider reframing the glass, or move it to a storage area until it can be repaired. But don't let it sit where you live, where you rest, eat, speak, or reflect. You deserve to see yourself fully, clearly, without fragments. And if it's just been sitting there out of habit or because you've stopped noticing it, let that be your sign. You don't have to tolerate broken energy in the name of it's fine for now. Your home deserves better. You deserve better. Sometimes clarity starts not with a new beginning, but with removing the distortion that's quietly shaped how you see your world. So walk through your space today. Find the mirror that cracked 6 months ago, the frame you meant to fix, the shard tucked behind the bookshelf because it wasn't in the way. Then ask yourself softly, do I still need to live with this? Because wholeness is not just about perfection, it's about alignment, integrity, and your reflection in life, in space, in spirit deserves to come back to you whole. Item 6. Rusty or broken knives. There's a sharpness to rusty metal that goes beyond the blade. It's not just physical danger, it's a quiet, persistent edge that sits in the shadows of your kitchen drawer and slices into the texture of daily life. A broken knife isn't only a tool gone useless, it's a symbol left unresolved. It speaks of things that were once whole and now fracture the room's rhythm every time someone reaches for a utensil or opens that drawer. Notice it now. The nicked blade hidden in a junk drawer, the old steak knife with a dull, pitted edge, the kitchen knife you swore you'd sharpen someday. These are small things, but they matter. Knives carry meaning in every home. They chop, pare, and prepare the food that nourishes a family. They clean, carve, and maintain. Because of this, they sit at the intersection of utility and symbolism. When a knife is new and cared for, it represents clarity, precision, and functionality. When it becomes rusty, broken, or neglected, that symbolic role shifts. Instead of cutting through confusion, it becomes a jagged reminder of things left unfinished. It can register in the household as tension, dinners interrupted by irritation, conversations that snap unexpectedly, a nervous energy that no one can point to but everyone feels. Your knife drawer of all places silently keeps score. This is not to suggest knives are inherently bad objects. They are practical tools and accidents happen. But there's an emotional honesty to home life we often ignore. A rusty blade signals neglect, not only of the object, but sometimes of the routines around care and attention. Think about how often you reach for a knife and find it dull or see a chip at the tip. You pause, you adjust your motion. On an unconscious level, your body responds. That response aggregates. Over time, small hesitations add up to a household tone that is a bit sharper, more brittle, less tender. There's also a physical reality to match the symbolism. Rust is oxidation. It's metal reacting to its environment. It tells you something about moisture, about long sitting, about spaces that aren't being tended. A broken knife, taped at the handle or shoved to the back of the drawer, is a hazard waiting for a careless reach. It is a literal cut waiting to happen and a metaphorical cut already made. You deserve to live in a kitchen where the tools you use daily are safe, clean, and intentional. Now for the turning point. You don't need ritual to shift this. You need small, decisive care. Start with what's visible, open that drawer. Lay each knife on the counter. Look, feel the weight, check for rust, chips, wobbling handles. Decide, does this serve your table and your family? If a blade is simply dull, a quick visit to a sharpener or a professional service can bring it back to life, and with that, restore the knife's functional confidence. If it's rusted through or structurally compromised, it's not repairable in a meaningful way. Holding onto it is holding onto a danger and a tension. Disposal can feel oddly ceremonial even if you don't intend it to. Wrap any broken or rusty blade carefully in several layers of newspaper or cardboard, then seal with tape. Label it so sanitation workers or whoever handles your trash knows there's sharp metal inside. If you prefer a safer route, many cities and towns have hazardous waste drop-offs or metal recycling programs that accept old blades. Some local recycling centers will grind down or otherwise process metal safely. Whatever route you choose, do it with intention. Don't shove it back into a drawer for now. That, for now, is what keeps the edge in the room. There's a psychological alchemy in taking that action. Removing a broken knife is a small boundary. You are choosing safety over convenience, clarity over avoidance. The energy in your kitchen changes. You may not notice dramatic overnight shifts, but chairs settle differently, conversations around the table lose a little of their snap, and you move through everyday tasks with fewer micro-stutters. That's the practical payoff. If you want to be purposeful, consider replacing a retiring knife rather than merely removing it. Choose a single, well-made chef's knife and commit to caring for it. Dry it promptly after washing. Store it in a block or on a magnetic strip, and give it a touch-up on a stone every few months. This small investment is not indulgent, it's a statement. It says you value the way you nourish your home. It says you prioritize safety and calm. It replaces an edge that cut into tension with an edge that cuts into task, cleanly and without drama. Finally, there's a human element to remember. If a knife has sentimental value inherited from a relative, for example, you can honor that memory without keeping the damaged blade in daily circulation. Photograph the piece. Keep it safely stored and out of daily reach. Or transfer the sentiment. Use a family recipe card, display a photograph of the relative in the kitchen, or make a ritual of cooking something in their memory. These actions hold the story without letting an unsafe object remain a silent agitator in your space. A home is a living system. It breathes. It needs tending. The knives in your drawer are small parts of that system, but they carry outsized influence. Removing the rusty, the broken, the neglected is not melodrama. It's practical care. It's an invitation to shift the tone from jagged to steady. When you close that drawer and feel the difference, the small exhale you didn't realize you needed, you'll understand how a simple act, handled with attention, can smooth the edges of daily life. Item 7. Photos of deceased loved ones in living spaces. It's one of the most tender things we do. We frame a photo of someone we've loved, someone we've lost, and we place it somewhere meaningful. On the mantle, on a bookshelf, maybe right above the couch in the living room. It's our way of keeping them close, of saying, you still belong here. But what we often don't realize is how this act of love can also quietly shift the energy of the home. Not because of superstition, but because of what it holds in place. A photograph isn't just an image, it's a frozen moment, a snapshot of someone's presence, who they were, how they felt, how they looked when life still moved through them. When we look at it, we remember. But when we place that image in a space where we live, where we cook, laugh, argue, unwind, that memory becomes more than internal. It becomes environmental. It lives with us, watches with us, and, in some subtle ways, holds us still. It may not feel that way at first. In fact, many people say the opposite. It makes the room feel warmer. It's like they are still here. It helps me feel safe. And that's true especially in the early stages of grief. But over time, that comfort can become entanglement, especially if the photo is placed in a prominent space, above the bed, over the television. At the heart of the living room, it can begin to shift the emotional center of the home. The energy of the living slowly makes room for the presence of the past. And even if no one speaks it aloud, everyone feels it. Maybe it shows up in restless sleep, in a heaviness you can't name, in a recurring dream, or a tension at family gatherings, as though someone else is always with you, not in memory, but in mood. It's subtle, quiet, but it settles in. And instead of helping you heal, the photograph can begin to hold the grief in place. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but energetically. In many spiritual practices, not religious, just energetically aware, we're encouraged to keep photographs of loved ones who have passed in private or dedicated places. Not hidden, not erased, but honored. A personal altar, a quiet corner, a photo album you pull out with intention. These placements create boundaries. They say, I remember you, I love you, but I also give you space to rest, and myself the space to live. Because here's the truth we don't often talk about. When we keep someone too present, especially in visual form, they can't fully move on, and neither can we. Energy anchors in objects, and a framed photo is one of the most powerful anchors there is. When placed too publicly, too high, too central, it risks becoming less of a tribute and more of a tether. And there's a practical piece to this too. Think about how children feel when they grow up in a house where a grandparent's photo watches over the living room like a silent guardian. Or how you feel when you sit on the couch and glance up to see someone who isn't physically here anymore, still occupying a place of visual authority. It's not about fear, it's about balance. Who leads the energy in your home, the living or the memory? This doesn't mean you should remove every trace of your loved ones. Not at all. It means you get to choose how their memory lives with you. A photo in a hallway, a framed image near a candle you light on special occasions, a personal corner where you sit and speak to them in your own way. These are not restrictions, they are loving adjustments. They give your home room to breathe again. And maybe that's the deepest need here, room. Grief takes up space. So does love, so does healing. But if a single image continues to hold the center of your home long after the passing, you may be building a life around someone who is no longer here, instead of letting their spirit bless the life you're still creating. None of this is meant to rush your process. Every family, every loss, every person grieves differently. But we often underestimate how deeply our surroundings hold us in patterns. We keep a photo up not because it feels right, but because we haven't questioned it in years, or because it would feel disloyal to take it down. But here's something to consider. What if taking the photo down isn't saying goodbye, but saying, you don't have to stay here anymore, we're okay now? And if you're not okay, that's all right too, but let that guide how and where the photo lives. Make it a conversation, a conscious choice. Ask yourself, does this image bring light into the space or weight? Does it open my heart or keep it suspended in ache? Is this placement about connection or obligation? There's no wrong answer, only honest ones. So tonight or sometime this week, take a moment. Walk through your home with soft eyes. Notice the photographs of those who have passed. Ask yourself gently, does this belong here in this space in this way? Or is it time for a shift? Because your home is not a shrine, it's a sanctuary. It's a place for life to be lived in full color in real time. And those who have gone ahead of you, they don't need to stay on the wall to stay in your heart. They are already there, always have been, always will be. The photo is just a window, you are the home. And sometimes, all it takes to feel free again is closing that window with love and opening a new one that lets the living light back in. Item 8, old, torn shoes piled at the entrance. You probably don't think about them much. The shoes by your front door, worn out, scuffed, soles peeling. Some haven't been touched in months. One pair lost its match. Another has a broken strap. And yet there they are, lined up or tossed into a pile near the threshold of your home. It seems harmless, just part of life. But when it comes to energy, that spot, your entryway, holds more power than we realize. In most homes, the front door is the first impression. It's where guests arrive, where groceries come in, where you start and end your day. But on an energetic level, the entrance is more than practical. It's the breath of the house. It's where energy flows in. It's the handshake between the outside world and your inner life. And when that entry is blocked, cluttered, or filled with items that have outlived their purpose, the message to that energy is clear. Don't come in. Shoes, in particular, carry symbolic weight. They represent movement, travel, direction, where you've been and where you're going. Every step you've taken is held in their worn soles, their creased leather, the dirt they carry from sidewalks, rainstorms, and waiting rooms. And when those shoes are broken, tired, or simply no longer used, what you're keeping by your door is not just clutter, it's unresolved journey. There's a kind of emotional residue that lingers in old shoes. They've walked through heartbreaks, job interviews, funerals, road trips, arguments. They've stood with you in moments you may not even remember, but the energy remembers. It stays in the bend of the arch, the wear of the heel, the looseness of the laces. So when you line up those pairs by the door, the ones no one wears anymore, you're not just holding onto shoes. You're holding onto moments that have already passed. And every time you walk past them, arms full of groceries, kids trailing behind, thoughts spinning from the day, your body registers that pile. Maybe not with words, but with feeling. A tiny weight, a small resistance, like your house is exhaling through a straw, unable to breathe in fully. The shoes say, we're stuck. We're not going anywhere, and in turn you might feel stuck too, unsure why forward motion feels so hard lately. It's easy to overlook. You're busy. There are more important things. But here's the truth. Small decisions shape the spirit of a home. A cluttered entrance creates friction, delays, forgetfulness, irritation. You trip over shoes in the morning rush. You fumble for keys. You feel a little more stressed before you even make it to the car. It all starts at the door. And beyond the day-to-day, there's something deeper. Holding on to old shoes is sometimes a form of emotional hesitation. A reluctance to say, that part of my life is over. Maybe the boots you keep belong to someone you loved. Maybe those sneakers remind you of a version of yourself that felt free. Maybe the heels you haven't worn in years still whisper the hope that you'll one day return to who you were when you bought them. Letting go of shoes can feel like letting go of identity, of memory, of possibility. But here's what we forget. Clearing out isn't about erasing. It's about updating. It's about telling your space and yourself, I'm moving again. I'm stepping forward. I'm making room for a version of me who isn't waiting on the past to walk me home. So what can you do? Start small, go to the door, look down, really look. Ask, which of these do I actually wear? Be honest, not aspirational, not sentimental. Just present. If they're damaged, donate if possible, recycle if you can, or dispose of them with care. If they carry emotional weight, thank them. Say it aloud. Thank you for the journey. Then release. And notice what happens next. Not just in your home, but in you. The space clears, the entry feels lighter, the energy shifts. Suddenly, it's easier to take a deep breath when you come home. Your keys don't get lost as often. You feel less rushed, more rooted. That's not just decluttering, that's energetic realignment. To take it further, consider what you place there instead. A single, clean shoe rack, a small bench, a live plant. Something that greets the energy of the day and says, this home is tended. This home is awake. This home is mine. And for the shoes you do keep, care for them. Give them space to breathe. Let your feet step into objects that feel like they belong to the life you're living now, not the one you left behind. Because a home is not just where you sleep, it's where your story unfolds. And that story is told in the smallest moments, including the ones where your shoes touch the floor. And your next steps begin. So the next time you walk through your front door, ask yourself, what are these shoes still saying? Are they moving me forward or holding me back? And maybe, just maybe, it's time to let the past step outside, so the future can come in. Final, so many of the objects we've spoken about today, they are ordinary. Towels, shoes, a photo frame, a mirror. Things we walk past every day without a second thought. And yet each one carries something, a memory, a mood, a message, quietly shaping the way energy moves in our homes and in us. This isn't about fear. It's not about ghosts or curses, it's about awareness. Because your home is not just where you sleep, it's where your energy lands after the world has taken its toll. It's where your heart slowly exhales. And if something in that space is stuck, broken, filled with yesterday's weight, eventually so are you. When you let go of what no longer serves you, not in anger, but in softness, you create space. Space for light, for movement, for laughter that doesn't echo off old grief, for breath that doesn't get caught in corners. This is the quiet work of healing, and it starts with something as simple as noticing. So thank you for being here, for sitting with these stories, for listening beyond logic, for feeling what your own home might be ready to tell you. Maybe tonight you'll walk through your space with new eyes. Maybe you'll pause by a chair or a photograph or a pair of shoes and simply ask, is this still part of the life I'm living or the one I already said goodbye to? Wherever you are, however you're healing, may your home feel a little lighter, a little warmer, a little more yours. Take good care of it and of you. Until next time, be gentle, be home.